What I'd like to talk to you about is aluminum poisoning. I have a couple papers here that give some of the details on aluminum poisoning. And it has become one of the most common heavy metal poisonings in our society. And according to this one doctor I managed to finally make contact with, he says about 93% of the population is suffering toxic level aluminum poisoning.
93?
93%. He was in charge of a clinic where they did a test, blood tests and hair tests, and they found that this 93% of the people that, of the 10,000 people tested, 93% came in above safe toxic levels, substantially above. So they went into figuring out where is this toxicity coming from. Well, a lot of it they found was coming from they have aluminum pans that you pre-made foods in aluminum pans like TV trays. As soon as you heat it, it dissolves the aluminum into the food. And you see, they don't have to put that on the label as a warning. The next is Colgate toothpaste. They have declared they do not have to record or let anyone know how much aluminum is actually in their toothpaste, which indicates that they do put aluminum in it, as far as I'm concerned. But they had no comment, otherwise they wouldn't specify anything. You know, they have these roasters for disposable roasters. Turkey dissolves aluminum. Do not ever keep aluminum in a turkey next to an aluminum. Chicken will also absorb the aluminum. The plastic coating that you get on things that's from Kentucky Fried Chicken has aluminum in the plastic to make it withstand the heat a little better, but it dissolves into the meat. The bucket itself has aluminum in it. Pop in cans, beer in cans, high amounts of aluminum. Now, they've associated aluminum with Alzheimer's and dementia and guess what else it's been associated with?
MS?
MS, not so much, but diabetes. Most people that have signs of diabetes, they run to aspartame products, and aspartame is 16% aluminum. 16% aluminum.
They're not the healthiest eaters either.
They're not the healthiest eaters, but it sends up their homocysteine levels and causes blood clots in the lower extremities of their body, preventing circulation.
And that can travel up to...
And can travel around and cause the heart and strokes. But it also causes them to have amputations of their feet. Numb feet is definitely a sign of diabetes because of the high homocysteine levels. Now, 5 is the maximum homocysteine level you're supposed to have for an adult. Okay. The higher your stress level, the less your liver is able to deal with the homocysteine that it produces. Stress, the hormones released by the stress stimulate the liver to produce homocysteines into a prodigious amounts. If you get above 12, you're guaranteed either minor heart attacks or strokes. If you get above 15, you're guaranteed a stroke. Guaranteed.
You have to ask, if you have a blood test, you have to request to the doctor to mark it on there. They don't do it automatically.
They do not do it automatically because it costs them 31 cents more to have that test done.
Oh, whoopee.
Multiply it by how many people.
I don't see any whoopies around here.
Well, 31 cents could save a life. I mean, that's not much.
Exactly.
Depends who's paying it.
And you see, if you could keep the proper levels of folic acid, B6, and B12 in your system, which your body doesn't want to ingest once it reaches certain ages. But the more aluminum you have, the less ability of these to be absorbed. So you have to absorb them under your tongue. Now, some of the liquid ones have aluminum in them to help keep them stable in suspension. So when you put your drops under, you're getting the counteractivity of it when you put drops under your tongue. So it's best in the little pill form, unless you really know where it comes from and how it's made. Anyway, they're saying that along with these things, disturb sleep. When you've got too much aluminum in your system, you will have a disturbed sleep. Either light sleep, where you're in and out of it constantly and you can't tell that you've slept, or you get where you will sleep very heavy for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and then after that you get the traumatic nightmares, and you get terrors of the night can start forming in your sleep pattern, and then you don't want to sleep. Okay. They are also saying that it causes emotional instability. When there is aluminum toxicity, there is emotional instability, but the more stress you get from the emotional instability, the higher your homocysteine level goes. And once that is put in place, where you got high homocysteine and high aluminum, you start getting memory loss. You don't remember people saying things to you, or doing certain things, or reacting certain ways. It can cause headaches, migraine headaches, headaches around the ear, because it will cause inflammation of the inner ear, and it causes impaired intellect. You can't reason things out. It'll shut down the judgment and the reasoning center of the brain, get short-circuited. It can stop the body's ability to digest food. And it prevents the body from using calcium properly. When you decrease the amount of calcium, you start flushing phosphorus. And then your body builds up on fluoride. So you can't, it won't, when things are high in aluminum, it breaks down the enamel on your teeth. That's why they put it in mouthwashes or in toothpaste, so that Monsanto can sell the material for making the dentures. And the coatings to cover your teeth all come from Monsanto. also, in your mouth, you will get where it becomes very rough and it makes your tongue sore and causes ulcers and cankers on your tongue from having too much aluminum in your diet.
Isn't it true that deodorant has aluminum?
Antiperspirant deodorant has lots of aluminum. And is a dumb thing to use anytime. When aluminum is present, it also prevents bone growth, so that you, let's say a bone that should heal in 5 to 6 weeks may take 4 to 5 months and be deformed in its healing. Okay. It is noted to be a very strong additive for causing arthritic horns or bone growth.
Bone spurs?
Spurs, horns, bumps. And it will reduce bone density by between 50 to 60%.
Wow.
And this Lawrence, he drinks a lot of beer out of cans. Okay. He injured a year ago. He injured his leg, broke his ankle or something. He's had 2 operations. He needs 3 more operations, they figure, to reset it, to get it, because it won't heal. But he keeps taking the aluminum in, preventing the healing, and not the calcium and the phosphorus and the stuff that he doesn't need. So you can have those problems where where injuries do not heal. Bone injuries will not heal, but you can also have it where it causes bubbles to form on in the bone, where it just totally dissolves and creates these huge bubbles that have no support, and they don't produce red blood cells.
And they break easily.
And then your bones break
That
very,
happened
very.
to a friend of ours, Galen's age. Broke her arm bone twice.
How many here suffer from cold feet?
Somewhat.
One, okay. Because if you get numbness or coldness in your feet, again, it is a sign of diabetes, but it's also a sign of aluminum poisoning. Okay. Normally your feet should be hot enough that you could run 3 blocks in minus 20-degree weather on snow, through the snow, without any frost damage or damage to your feet.
In bare feet?
In bare feet. That's how hot your feet should be.
How do you ask or check for if you're aluminum poisoning?
Well, they can't. There is a blood test for it, and there's also a hair test.
A hair test.
Yeah, where they take a chunk of hair and they do something to it and find out how much aluminum. The hair one is effective on a lot of things, but aluminum oxidizes and burns off too fast, and so it becomes airborne. So you don't always get a true reading from a hair test, but the blood and urine can be quite effective at figuring that out. Aching muscles, when you haven't done, extremely strenuous work out, when your muscles ache, aluminum toxicity is high. It can cause speech problems, speech impediments, anemia, digestive problems, lower liver functioning, colicness. And when they're breastfeeding, one of the things that if there's high toxicity of aluminum, it goes right into the breast milk, into the baby. And impaired kidney function. Well, you need good kidney function to get rid of aluminum. But if you impair it, because it will cause the calcium that it leaches from the bones to deposit into the kidneys and even into the gallbladder. They are now trying to figure out whether a lot of the gallbladder attacks are the direct result of aluminum poisoning. Because the amount of gallbladder attacks is up 17,000% since 1950. And it was up a huge amount from the turn of the century, 1900s.
What about the metallic wrappers on chocolates or candies or gum?
Well, a lot of those have silver with it, the aluminum. And it doesn't leach into the stuff as quickly unless it's in the sun or next to someplace where it gets high amounts of microwave, like next to a cell phone, next to a something that comes out on a microwave band length.
Pastor Gerald, I just like to say, in regards to the gallbladder, it can feel almost like a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
People will experience that
Yeah.
at times, because indigestion, that kind of thing going
Mhm.
on. And some will totally ignore that, and it can cause a lot of issues, of course. Should say.
Well, aluminum has a lot of problems with it. And digestive aids, well, first of all, if you're taking a bufferin aspirin, they contain 700 milligrams of aluminum in each aspirin. Your body can safely flush 80 milligrams a day.
But no problem with aspirin, small dose of aspirin?
Not small dosage of regular aspirin, it's the buffered aspirin. Digestive aids, such as the ones used for diarrhea and hemorrhoid medications, contain large amounts of aluminum. Tums has a large amount of aluminum in it. Aluminum, like the antacids, and each tablet can have as much as 200 milligrams. So you could, if you're a big consumer of Tums, which will also increase your ability to have upset stomach, because it always has rebound with it, it can put 5,000 milligrams per day of aluminum in your system.
There is a natural digestive aid. It's rather expensive, but at the health food store you can get these little pills that are natural digestive aids.
Mm. The aluminum is, as you mentioned, there is added to the antiperspirants and douches and a lot of things like that. Aluminum pots and foil add about 4 milligrams of aluminum to your diet every day that they're used. And certain stainless pots have aluminum linings inside the layers. And it will leach through once you reach a certain temperature, it leaches right through the steel.
How come that's not banned by now?
Because you cannot fight the big companies that own the politicians and the health services in Canada and the United States.
Yes.
Processed cheese, those slices, pre-wrapped cheeses, contain 50 milligrams of aluminum per slice.
And it tastes like it.
People that get cheeseburgers,
That's true.
have those cheese slices on, but there's also, because of the seasoning salt that is put, it adds, so you get the 50 plus you get another 15, approximately 15 milligrams of aluminum in your per burger, per slice of cheese. Okay? So it's the highest things. A lot of pickles contain alum, an alum solution. That's aluminum. Okay. Keeps the pickle firm. However, it is
Dangerous.
very, very dangerous, yes. Because the vinegar allows it to be absorbed quickly and it attacks the bones immediately.
So would that be the same for any kind of things that are pickled, like?
No, just the things that have alum in it
Oh, okay, so you have
for
to
firm.
read.
Yeah. Now, there are certain detoxifiers, and one of the ones, that is quite good is Epsom salts in when you soak your feet. It helps get rid of quite a few heavy metals. However, you're not supposed to just be laying around and then suddenly go soak your feet. It works best if you have been in motion, like gone for a 20-minute walk first, and then soak your feet. Not just from a sedimentary position to a sedimentary position while you're waiting, and use the water as hot as possible that you can stand. And try and keep it there for about 30 to 35 minutes.
What about just having a bath with Epsom salts
Yes.
rather than just your feet?
It still works, it works good. It's just you cannot stand the heat in the bath as hot as you can on your feet.
And it should be-
Well, there was a Dr. Sarita, a neuropath, that his offices were on Calgary Trail in about 51st, something like that. 50th, 51st range. And he had about 8 of them, plus he did the chelating therapies to get the toxic metals out of people's bodies. Taking the juice of a fresh lemon is very good. Just eating the peeling it and eating the lemon with the skin on and that core, what do they call that core again? Pith, yes.
Pit, oh, with the pit.
Yeah, eat the pith. The pith stimulates the kidneys to flush aluminum.
It's also the lining of the skin of the...
Yeah, and it helps.
Okay, the pith is the white. Are you talking about the dividers or the pith, the white part? Which part
The
is
pith is the core, the central core of the.
that? Is that
You can eat it off grapefruit if you're short on iron, but man, does it taste awful.
Yeah, better on oranges.
Oranges and lemons, I have no problem. Limes, I have no problem with, but I can't take grapefruit core. Yes,
Lemon first thing in the morning with water,
hot water.
cleansing.
Always
water.
hot water with your lemon in the morning. If you
Yes.
have fresh lemon juice to squeeze, always hot water. You can add even a half a teaspoon of unpasteurized honey into it, and you get your best results.
Half a teaspoon, you said.
Half a teaspoon of unpasteurized
Yeah.
honey. If it's been pasteurized, you might as well put a pound of sugar in.
Yeah.
There's certain things that you can eat that stimulate the body into disposing of aluminum, okay, where your body wants to pull it out of the cells. And a lot of the people have these steamers and their aluminum steamer core. It just throws the aluminum ions right into all the food.
What about like plastic?
Plastic steamer?
I've got this steamer and it's got these plastic levels so you can steam different vegetables all at once.
you have a number of organic solvents that come out of plastic. So you gotta, it's not so good. It'll do nerve damage, and organic solvents will prevent your body from producing the myelin sheath covering. It'll burn it right off real fast, but it'll prevent the regrowth. Enameled cookware, if you can stay away from metal spatulas and spoons and stuff like that, use the wooden ones or the plastic ones there, but don't leave it in the heat. Just use it quickly and in and out. Then the enamel pots, lined pots, will be best because they don't leach. Even if you have real strong acidic material in it, they won't leach. They're more expensive, harder to get hold of, but they're the good quality ones. Aluminum has a habit of concentrating into plaque marks in the brain, but it also short circuits the brain. So it is better to have somebody else, present, because if you release too much from one part of your body, it will go to the brain and clog in there and cause dysfunction real quick. And you won't remember what you're supposed to be doing, or how long you've been there, or how long, what the routine is. Have somebody there.
So sorry, if you get rid of too much at once from one part
If
of
you
the
get,
body-
yes, let's say that let's say you went to a steam room. Okay, your body, all the aluminum next to the skin and will release back into your system. And it can cause you to pass out in the steam room. Or it can cause you to get so disorientated you can't find your way home. That's why it always pays to go with someone else so that you have a counter check.
So it will go, so it's going out, but then it starts going back in?
It gets reabsorbed. If you don't shower immediately,
Okay.
it'll get reabsorbed. But if you stay in too long, it may not flow off. Or if you're in a dry sauna, it's more, you get more risk of it being reabsorbed. In the wet saunas, you have the problem that people are sweating and the aluminum is coming out, but it's down by your feet, which absorb it, other people's aluminum. Okay?
So wear your sandals.
Shoes.
You can wear your shoes or keep your feet.
So
Elevated during
we
the
had been
time.
told before that saunas, especially dry saunas, would eliminate heavy metals.
It will eliminate the heavy metals, but you have to shower immediately after coming out of them, and you don't stay in for longer than 14 minutes.
Okay.
Otherwise it starts to reabsorb.
Because the wet saunas,
You're sweating it off,
but 15 minutes is the minimum, so.
maximum.
So,
Oh, the
Maximum.
maximum, okay.
so 15 minutes, shower, then you go back.
And then you wait 10 minutes and go back in, yeah.
So the whirlpool, and the pools,
Yeah,
what
you
about
should,
the whole
you shouldn't
stuff?
stay more than 15 minutes in a whirlpool. And if you have real high aluminum levels, the homocysteine level will go so high that you'll have a stroke in the whirlpool or in the sauna.
If you have high blood pressure, you should not use it very long at all.
You shouldn't use it at all, really. Yeah. But aluminum will give you high blood pressure. Aluminum cookware is really, it should be taken to the scrapyard and don't use it. It's noted to cause that if you start getting little tumors on your skin, that it can turn them cancerous almost instantly into a galloping cancer.
Do you know if Sears sells aluminum cookware or not?
I have no idea.
They have a 7% deal on it.
They have a real strong warning about the processed cheese you know, the slices and the cheese whiz.
Mhm.
And now that they're, some of the stuff with the Philadelphia cheeses, you gotta watch who does it and whether they list that they put alum into their cheese. To get rid of it, there's certain things, apple pectin is from, especially from green apples, the sour green apples, the cooking apples. The pectin that comes out of these is exceedingly good at getting rid of aluminum. It binds around it even inside the cells, and as soon as it binds around aluminum molecule, the body wants to flush it. They say that you can eat the raw apple, the fresh raw apple. You can buy the powder or the tablets, which is about 75 to 80% as effective as the fresh apple.
Does that include Granny Smith or just the dry?
Granny Smith is one of the ones that was high in pectin.
And the delicious.
Delicious
not
is the
delicious.
lowest, is the lowest.
Not delicious.
The green delicious,
Green delicious.
or yellow delicious, they are much lower than the Granny Smith, but they still have a lot of pectin. Lemon juice is the second best eliminator for aluminum.
Which one?
Lemon juice.
Lemon juice.
Lemon juice, oh.
There's a kelp seaweed that is quite good at detoxifying the body, but you have to find out where it came from, because if it's close, if it was harvested close to where there's a major river drainage, it's already overloaded with lead and mercury, and so you got to find out where it came from.
Do we know where the best place is for kelp?
Not offhand, I didn't have time to go researching into that.
How much lemon juice daily?
About 2.5 ounces.
I was gonna say a gallon.
First thing in the morning.
Yeah, first thing in the morning.
Hot
That's your body's most receptive before 8 o'clock in the morning to cleansing. I hope you realize that. Turmeric is a very powerful antioxidant that fights the free radicals, but it has one of the gentlest detoxifiers for the liver and kidneys, which that have been affected by aluminum, to get it clear. And the other thing with turmeric is that they're finding when you take more than 1/4 teaspoon a day, that it causes prostate enlargements to shrink. So they're really, especially if you are eating blueberries and or cherries, the big black Bing cherries with it, it really shows a marked decrease in fast.
Is there a way you can take turmeric besides as a seasoning? Is there a way with water that you can?
There is capsules.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I like the taste of it myself, but you know.
Dr. Gerald, would that be the same with cayenne as well?
Cayenne is not an aluminum detoxifier.
Okay, so it's strictly to the turmeric.
Yes, turmeric is. And then the fifth most effective is the bath, the detox bath, with Epsom salt. And they say 1/2 cup of Epsom salt and 1/2 cup of sea salt makes it the most effective. But you have to, if you're soaking your feet, it has to be for at least 35 minutes. Now some of these foot, they massage your feet and soak your feet and keep the temperature warm in the water. If you can get one of those foot soakers that does that, you got a great unit to move on. As you decrease the amount of aluminum in your system, it will also decrease the amount of homocysteines in your system, because your kidneys and liver will work better in disposing of it. And you'll be able to absorb more of your B vitamins out of your food. A lot of beauty products have aluminum in them. Skin creams, all this stuff. Because it kills the bugs, the fungus, and that would normally grow in skin creams. Avoid drinking from aluminum cans and aluminum. Guys used to go out, the army issued them as these aluminum flasks for carrying your water. Okay, they were made of extremely cheap aluminum that will dissolve into the water.
Especially easy with the aspartame in the pot.
Yeah, well. Alcohol and they have these aluminum flasks also for that you can hide to get into the football game or whatever. Very, very, very bad. It will dissolve. Alcohol will cause ionization of the aluminum. So, but the studies on aluminum, they are just really beginning.
Yes.
Yes.
But what they're finding, it is an extremely deadly poison. In the chemtrails that they make right now are extremely high in aluminum and bromine. What will happen if there was right now an electric pulse sent through our air, and it was done at, I think it's the 756 frequency, Hertz frequency, that matches with that. It would create a blanket, an aluminum blanket, about 3/8 of an inch thick, or nearly a centimeter thick.
Would deionize it.
And it will absolutely smother everything below it when it falls. Because unless you have a real sharp knife for cutting it open, you have no access to air.
Well, that's the idea of the chemtrails, right?
Yeah, it creates ear infections, sinus infections, cataracts in your eyes. It will cause flu-like conditions, and they can use it especially when they want to sell arthritic pills, buffered arthritic pills, because aluminum will stimulate arthritis. Pig meat has a lot of aluminum in it. People used to take distilled water. It is a bad thing to take. Okay, the ionization and frequency of it is wrong.
I see.
If you take filtered water, especially the ones that have this membrane filter, it goes through the charcoal and then the membrane.
Brita?
Well, Brita isn't quite, it's mostly charcoal on the Brita one.
E-springs work good.
The which?
E-spring.
E-spring, I'm not familiar. Anyway, you can get them that have the silver core for killing the bacteria and fungus. And silver is not toxic to your system. It has the carbon for taking the wrong gases out, and then it has a membrane filter which prevents the heavy metals from going through it. Well, there are really good filters, and because the water has been contaminated with fluoride. Now, fluoride is not the natural fluoride salts that are in the ground. That is a derivative of rat poison, part of the rat poison formation. And should they say it strengthens your teeth? However, it is not good for your system.
Calgary took it out of their water.
Who did? Calgary took fluoride out of their water?
Yeah.
Very good thing to do.
Just this year they did.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
What about well waters, like we would have on the farm, like when we have?
If they have a fluoride in there, or a fluorine actually, in their water, there's no problem because it's a natural format.
Okay.
It's really good for your bones and teeth.
Okay.
It won't harm you.
I didn't think it did.
But if you get the fluoride like they put in, it's a residue of the oil industry that they didn't know what to do with. But it's a part of a rat poisoning. Usually, you get aluminum, and it'll come in certain plants, it'll come in for the farm water, but that's is aluminum hydroxide. That one is, if it says aluminum hydroxide, it is not the toxic aluminum. Your body just takes it in and flushes it out. And if it was removed, you probably would eliminate about 99% of your natural foods if it was toxic, even by itself. They use aluminum hydroxide to run the tests on to do with this aluminum chloride, aluminum this, and all these others. They said these ones are okay because aluminum hydroxide's in the plants and all this other stuff. And that's why they pushed the judge to approve aspartame. Well, it's in the food. So he says, oh, it is? Okay. But there's a difference between aluminum hydroxide and all the other aluminum salts that are available, or the native aluminum, natural aluminum. So I hope you found this interesting.
Yes.
Excellent.
There's another thing that is quite good. It's a herb. It's called cilantro.
Yeah.
Cilantro?
Cilantro. It's it allows certain metals to be pulled out of the cell and cleared from your body. It also increases the ability of the brain to function. But try and find it, because the government wants it off the market.
Grocery store has cilantro.
Yeah,
You always find it.
but they want to get rid of it.
Well, we could probably plant it.
You can plant it.
Yeah, you can
Ask
plant it,
Kenny
yeah.
how.
It's a herb. You can grow it on your farm. You know, the chelating agents and including amino acids are very effective at getting rid of the heavy metals. And aluminum would come out at the same time. Do you know that fertile eggs and fish have natural chelating agents in them?
Fertile eggs.
Fertile eggs, like we get out from the farm, the foundation farm. Yeah, they're free range, but they're also fertile.
Are all of Eric's eggs and Julie's eggs fertile?
Fertile, yes. They do not have any that are not fertile.
Can you buy that in the store?
You can, it costs you 12 something a dozen.
Only one of the vitamin B's, I don't recall which one, but only one is required under the tongue.
Well,
B12.
B12, yeah.
B12 is destroyed immediately in the stomach.
Mhm.
However, when you take it with folic acid and B6, you get the greatest effect of it out of your 12.
Yes.
You have higher energy, but you also have, it does the cleaning work that it needs to do. in
As
your
long as there's
system.
no aluminum in the liquid B.
In the liquid bees, yes.
Otherwise, you take the regular B's.
Yeah, the ones that are specifically designed for dissolving under the tongue.
Okay.
Now, for removing parsley, which most people don't like, will remove mercury from your body. And vegetables like broccoli, kale, cabbage, the dark green cabbage, contain high amounts of antioxidants that increase the production of your body's own detoxifying enzymes. The red cabbage has a lot of different amino acids that are beneficial to your body, where the green cabbage is an antioxidant.
And you said those antioxidants stimulate the production of enzymes that...
They produce a detoxifying enzyme that allows the body to produce this detoxifying enzyme, and it helps speeds up the elimination from the body of these things. Now, sulfur-rich foods like onions and garlic will help also get rid of the heavy metals, especially lead. Okay. Now, garlic does it whether it's pickled, dried, or fresh. Onions have to be fresh.
Gotcha, okay.
You know, if they're starting to grow mold on the inside, they will not do it.
I just
These
use
are the GMO onions.
How much can you cook those dark green vegetables and have it still be effective?
They should have a slight crispness to them.
What about if I make kale chips?
The what?
What if you make kale chips?
They're wonderful.
I bake them.
There's
You-
dehydrated.
You decrease the amount of, it's still there, but you decrease the amount of antioxidants probably by about 50%. But you still get some. As I said, natural chelating agents are your eggs and your fish. Especially good is when you have the boiled egg.
Or poached.
Poached, boiled, watered. It's very, very effective.
Does it make a big difference about your fish? 'Cause, like, you know, obviously wild fish is better, but if
No.
it's farmed fish, is it?
Well, farm fish is fed aluminum. It's also fed human hair and because women usually spend more time in the kitchen, they're touching aluminum more often than and it will absorb through your hands.
I see.
So even those pie plates, those aluminum pie plates, if you serve food on that,
If you serve food on them and there's any acidic food at all, you know, like tomatoes or pineapple, orange sauce, any of that stuff,
okay, what happens if you have a piece of wax paper between the two?
then you'll get only the chemicals out of the wax. Baking powder has aluminum in it.
Or does it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can get the aluminum free stuff
you can.
at Bosch. They sell it, Epicure sells it, and it's aluminum free.
Okay, so standard baking powder, even if it's not listed as having aluminum, still has it. Yeah.
Has it in, yeah. You gotta check. They're forced to post it if they have aluminum in it. You realize that on baking powder.
And alum?
Alum is aluminum.
What about like if you line, like your pan, if you put aluminum foil, but you don't put your food right on it?
If you don't put it on it or it doesn't touch it on the top, that's why a lot of people will put a lot of these toothpicks to
Yeah.
keep the aluminum away from the top. You can still use it to cover. It won't leach that way.
But like if you put like if you're doing chicken, so that it's not sticking to the tray, you put foil, and then you put it on like wire rack.
Yeah,
But if it's not touching the,
but the heat comes from below.
no, he comes from the back of my oven, just the convection oven.
It's a convection oven.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might be able to get away with it. I wouldn't.
Well, that.
I'd have to have a check, you know, go through a check to find out. There's an alpha lipoic acid that is made in the body. And such foods like spinach, broccoli, peas, Brussels sprouts, rice bran, and certain organ meats have this in it and encourages the body to produce this. And it these acids allow the blood barriers to, you know, in the cells and stuff. It's able to pass through and pull the heavy metals out, binds with them, and then it can be just, you know, goes out through the kidneys and it's gone. Your kidneys can release a lot of aluminum and heavy metals when they have the right additives around to work with. You can buy it in the capsule form,
Say it
but
again,
you
Judy.
get it naturally out of spinach, broccoli, peas, Brussels sprouts, rice bran, and organ meats. All vaccinations and inoculations contain aluminum. All of them. And from the sounds of it, all of them also contain such wonderful things as the mercury vapors and stuff is put through. One of the non-ingestive sources of aluminum comes from tobacco, marijuana, sunscreens, and cosmetics and chemtrails. Those are the main high-grade sources. It is interesting that vaccinations, because they have formaldehyde, they also put mercury. It's not mercury chloride. It's there's one of the mercury compounds into it to allow for stabilization.
So you would say that the end-time believers have to do more than just avoid unclean meats and food?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
There's something about horsetail, I can.
Well, they're putting horsetail, yeah, I was looking at some vitamins the other day, and the ingredients were like oyster shells and horsetail and stuff. And they were in vitamins that were help hair and nail growth.
Yeah, there's a
And it was
product out there
horsetail
that's
and
called
there was oyster shells in it.
Exactly. I've had that for years.
I don't know why I take the omega-3 from Weber, and my nails are growing so fast that
Yeah.
I gotta cut them like twice a week.
What the oil?
They're just
Like the-
massive. Well, this I cut yesterday. You can just take a look. I cut them right back yesterday.
Omega-3s?
I'm taking just the omega-3
Yeah,
from
369,
fish oil.
yeah.
No,
369?
no, not
Just
the
three.
three, just the three omega-3s. Because that omega-3 will help your eyes, cones regenerate in your eyes. If you notice, I don't wear my glasses very often because the cones are regenerating. Anyway, I think you got at least 45 minutes to an hour teaching that you can use.
Yes.
And there's lots of new information coming out on aluminum because the studies are now starting to be available. The best studies were done in Germany and in Russia, but they're not available in Canada thanks to the NSA.